howdy, and welcome back to another Sourdough Saturday. I'm Catherine, the Aerogarden Homesteader. Today I wanted to make pitas. So, I found a recipe that I thought looked pretty good. Actually, if you've ever heard of the web channel Middle Eats, that's where I got this recipe from, but I'm going to be adding some sourdough to it. So yeah, I'm changing it, but I feel like, you know, sourdough is kind of like take a recipe and then you add sourdough to it. It doesn't seem like there's anything more to it than that. So I've done that with my grandmother's biscuit recipe, done that with the tortilla recipe that I got from another channel. I'm doing the same thing with this recipe from Middle Eats. And if you think about it, was pita made with like a sourdough type technique? I'm sure a lot of the breads that have been around for a long time were made with some sort of sourdough style at some point. Okay, so I got 300 grams of flour. I need 85 grams of water, or milk, sorry. Okay, so I went a little over, so that means I will only be adding 81 grams of water. Let me get that. Okay, this is just from the tap cold water because the milk's cold. 81. It's supposed to be 85, but I put in a little too much milk. So, there we go. I looked at that a little too much again. Okay, tear that out again. I need 20 grams of olive oil. Probably not very much, actually. There you go, 20 grams. Need 13 grams of sugar. Add to that. There you go. It says 8.5 grams of salt. I can't do half grams, so we're just gonna see what we can do. Just put in 8. I don't know why I'm doing that. Oops. And sourdough. So this is all bubbly and fresh. I fed it last night before bed. I don't know why this keeps insisting on going to -1. There you go. So I need 175 grams. Now, if this was just made for this, I wouldn't mind messing up the jar, but I don't want to pour it out because it will get the top of the jar all dirty, and I don't like when the top of the jar gets all dirty. I feel like it goes hard and then it gets mixed in and then it never really goes away. So 175. Get in there. Made a little extra just in case, so hopefully I have enough. Stuff is really hard to grab. That might be too much. Yeah, that's too much. Not by much. Okay, there you go. Close enough. So this will need to get fed. This needs to get mixed. So like all sourdough, this will require some stretches and folds, or at least all the sourdoughs I've been doing. And then cold bulk ferment in the fridge before shaping. So I will be shaping this up as pitas, but I'm also, this is going to be for another video, going to be shaping some of these up as little mini, like, breads for Lunchables. So I'm going to try to make some Lunchables for my kids because, have you seen the price of Lunchables lately? Oh my gosh. Like, it is just insane for what you're getting. So, really the only thing we can't really duplicate well is the bread. So I'm going to just make a whole bunch of different ones and have my kids pick the ones that they think are, well, either they like the most or they think is the closest. Okay, so this is a little hard to mix. You can see that the sourdough didn't really mix in. All this right here is just the sourdough in one big clump. So we need to get our hands in there. And just for future reference, I am not sure how many more of these sourdough videos are going to come out once spring hits, because well, number one, I'm going to be busy in the garden, and number two, once it starts heating up, I don't want to heat up the house. So I will probably be backing off on the baking I do, but I will be doing some baking, and I'll show you how to do that without heating up your house. So stay tuned for that once the weather starts getting hotter. Okay, so you can still see that sourdough is not mixed in very well. Okay, I'm going to go with that because we will be developing the gluten through some stretching and folding. So you can see it is a shaggy, very sticky mess, but we will be doing 4 stretches and folds to help develop this more. So I'm going to cover this up and let it sit for half an hour. The first 2 are at half-hour intervals, the second 2 are at hour-long intervals, and I will reference the recipe below that I got that from, because it's a different recipe, because the Middle Eats recipe doesn't call for sourdough. But I will reference all those below, but yeah, that's what we're doing. I'm just going to follow it and see. I mean, maybe it's okay to do 4 at half intervals, but we'll see. So I will see you back here in half an hour. Okay, first stretch and fold. So you see it's really developed a lot of strength already. So I'm going to give this a little bit more just to help it make sure it's all kneaded in very well. So I want to make sure it's got really good gluten development. Okay, so hopefully the rest of the stretches and folds will just be a true stretch and fold rather than a kneading session. Just wanted to make sure that it's well incorporated. Okay, there we go. So roll that up in a tight ball. It's still sticky. Okay, there we go. Got that covered again, and I will see you in 30 minutes. Okay, this is the second stretch and fold. You keep sticking to your hand a lot, just use more water. There we go. Okay, well the third one is in an hour, so I will see you in an hour. Okay, third stretch and fold at the 1 hour mark. Okay, I'll see you in another hour for the last stretch and fold. Okay, this is the last stretch and fold. And I believe I just need to let this rise until it was elastic and lively, is what the instructions said for the sourdough recipe. So, we will see. Kind of hard to ball it up. Sticky. Still very sticky. Okay, there you go. So I will let this sit for a while until it is risen and elastic and lively. Well, this is as lively as it got, so it's going in the fridge for the night. It is the next day. This is out of the fridge. It has also had a chance to sit at room temperature and warm up for probably about 2 hours or so. So it's probably slightly more than it needs, but you know what? I wanted to make sure it was warm enough to work with. So, you get a little flour on this. Let's see if we can get this out. It's still very sticky. Okay. Well, it definitely smells like sourdough, that's for sure. And it's stuck to the counter. So I'm going to divide this up into 80-gram balls, I believe. Let me double check my instructions. Yes, it was 80-gram balls. So the recipe is supposed to get 6 pitas of 80 grams. That would make a 7-inch pita. So I removed a little bit of this dough yesterday to make a couple of lunchable pizzas, which the kids kind of liked, so I was a little surprised. But stay tuned for that video. You get to see the lowdown. It does mean my recipe will not make the full 6, which is fine. But let's see how many we can get out of it. This is very sticky. I don't know, maybe I should have added more dough. Boy, it's just sticky. Okay, so we're going for about 90 gram balls. Put a little more flour down. I don't want to put too much down because I need to roll these into balls. But I want a little bit on the outside where my hand is, not the bottom, so that I can roll them into balls. And I'm going to let them sit and rest. So see, I tap the top in a little bit of flour, and then I'm going to put the sticky side down, and that will help draw the edges down and make a tight ball. It will need to sit and rest. The gluten is being worked a little bit and it's going to tighten up, and allowing it to have a little bit of a rest period will allow it to relax a little and hopefully make it easier to roll out, especially since this is really sticky. Since I have never made this before, I don't know how sticky it is supposed to be. Some of the stickiness could be because my sourdough starter is a different water to flour ratio than the one used in the actual recipe that I followed, but who knows? It did call for a 1-to-1 and mine is not a 1-to-1, so... Oh, I actually got 6. I don't know how that worked out. Oh, I know why. Okay. It's because I put in sourdough, which is extra on top of the amount of, yeah, everything. Okay, I'm going to let this sit for 10 minutes and relax a little bit, and then I will roll it all out. So I will be back in about 10 minutes. Okay, so I covered it up with a cloth just to prevent a skin from forming, but hopefully after a nice 10-minute rest, these will be rollable. So I'm going to make sure I liberally dust everything because, again, the dough is very sticky. So hand flatten a little bit, and then let's see what we can do. So this is supposed to be 7 inches. I guess we'll see. I do have a couple of sheet pans over beside me with some silpats on them just to hopefully keep them from sticking. The oven is preheated to 450. You probably heard that beep earlier. And let's see if we can get this going. You know what? I might need to let this rest a little bit longer. It is, see how it's springing back when I roll it? So that tells me, oops, that tells me it's not quite rested enough. Give it one more, yeah, it's just springing back an awful lot. So you know what? Don't be afraid to let it rest. If you fight with it, you just end up wasting a lot more time fighting with it. So I'm going to give it a little bit longer. 5 more minutes. Will that be enough? Let's see. So I am by no means an expert on pita making or making stuff with sourdough or any of that stuff, but I am learning and I'm taking you along for the journey. If you do try this recipe, let me know if it's this sticky, because this seems like it's a little extra sticky, you know what I mean. And if you do try this recipe, let me know just in general. I want to know how it turned out for you. I think we are getting there. I think it just needed a little longer. It needs a lot of flour though. Alright, so I'm going to call that big enough. I think I can get 3 of these on my cookie sheet. So I will roll out 3, get them in the oven, and then roll out the other 3. So it actually works out perfect. Okay, so it does seem to help to pre-stretch them before rolling them. So I'm going to get these in the oven. Again, my oven is set for 450, and it says it takes about 3 to 5 minutes, so I guess we will see. Here are the 2 sets of pitas. This one was at the 450 degree temperature that was recommended in the recipe, and I felt like it didn't quite puff up very much and got overcooked because this is really hard and crispy there, even though I had it wrapped in a tea towel. These ones, I actually jacked the temperature up to 550, and it's a lot softer. It didn't have to go for quite as long, and I feel like it's got a really nice pocket in it. So I would do one at the lower temperature, and if it doesn't work for you, do it at the higher temperature. So I did not have a pizza stone or a pizza steel or any heavy duty. I guess I could have put my cast iron in there, but I didn't. So if you're just doing it on cookie sheets, definitely jack up the temperature. It'll be better in the long run. Oh, look at that. I got perfect pockets. Filling it up with tuna salad. I'll put in some kale salad as well as some caramelized onions. These were so fun to make. It was really fun to watch them puff up. I got nice little pockets in here. I have some tuna salad with some caramelized onions and some kale salad. They were so good. I hope you give this a try. If you do, let me know below. I'd really love to know what you thought of it. And I will see you next time on the Aerogarden Homestead.